Hey traders, welcome to 2022. It's that time of year where we want to look back on year 2021 and our performance. And we want to focus on the things that helped us and things we did well. And we want to ditch the things that hurt us that we no longer want to repeat in 2022. We then use that information to apply to creating our goals and switching up routines to try and benefit ourselves into the new year. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that and just really scratch the surface. Then I'm going to go into my performance, what I'm looking forward to in this coming year. And in the video last year, I really went in depth into this review and goal setting process. So if you search TheChartGuys New Year's, I highly suggest you watch that video from last year because I did a whole slideshow and it's the same information. So I'm not going to repeat it, but a 30-minute plus video with all of that info. But again, we want to use programs like TraderView or notes if we take handwritten notes. I always like to do those handwritten notes and review them. But again, there's information. And I'm now watching the TheChartGuys members that are sharing their trade review. Some of them have really cool heat maps where they can see their biggest gainers in terms of stocks, their biggest losers. I personally, biggest loser of the previous year, I don't trade that name in the new year. If I lost the most money on it, it's not going to suit me and I ditch it. And if something went really well, maybe I keep focusing on that name, at least to start the coming new year. Other things that people are focusing on, they can look at their data and say, I lost more on Monday than any other day. Maybe that's because of market conditions. Maybe that's because of my life routine. But either way, you can say, I'm going to be more cautious or stop trading on Monday and focus on the other days or the days that I did well. So again, there's tons of information that we can get from looking at data. We know data on the charts is great for information. Well, we have that in many aspects of our lives as well. As we look forward, many people struggle with discipline. Discipline is such a key aspect of being a trader. Again, you can watch courses, you can take notes, you can watch the videos that we put out, and all of that can make sense to a certain degree. But again, if we don't have discipline, it's not going to help us in the long run because discipline is essential for consistency. The greatest way to jumpstart discipline in trading is to jumpstart discipline in other aspects of our lives. With our health, there are many ways that we can jumpstart that discipline. You can commit to working 20 minutes a day. And then if you fail to work out 20 minutes a day, clearly that is a red flag. And again, it's more psychological things that we need to be working on and not the actual ins and outs of placing trades and looking at support and resistance levels and developing trade game plans. So really we can get to the root of a lot of core problems by zooming out and looking at our life as a whole, not just our life as a trader. Other things that you could do, you could set a game plan to wake up every single day and drink a glass of water before you do anything else. And again, if you struggle to do that and stick with it, that definitely is a big glaring red flag and can really make things a lot easier in terms of, okay, I got to fix this first because if I do not fix this, trade results will not happen. So with goal setting, as we're looking forward, did you exceed your goals that you set for this previous year? Did you fall short? And then you look at that data and determine why. Why did I do better? Why did I do worse? And then you decide, do I want to be aggressive? Do I want to be conservative? How do I want to shift my goals for this coming new year? For me personally, with my results in 2021, I made more capital gains in crypto than I did in stocks. And that's notable for me. I made about 33% more or so. And that's notable because I started with about a third as much capital in my crypto account as I did in all of my stock counts combined. So that is very notable to make a good amount more profit with way less capital. So this is the first year that I've focused back on cryptocurrency since 2017. Second half of 2017 into the start of 2018, I didn't trade stocks. It was all crypto. During the bull market, all-time highs were hit, traded some of those big bounces on the way down, but then I completely shifted my focus. And I was focused on stocks 2018, 2019, and 2020. And that was pretty much just waiting for the bull market to come back in crypto. And then this year, focused back on crypto a lot more. And I did a lot better of a job swing trading, more so than I've ever done in the cryptocurrency space. I had some really big swing trades that I traded around, but it was a good lesson in discipline. And again, a goal that I always have from here on out is practicing my swing trading because I know I will not be day trading 250, 350 days a year as I have been forever. It's not sustainable. So I need to continue practicing my swing trading so that as I day trade less, I will swing trade more and still have confidence making money in markets. So the lesson for cryptocurrency, keep the swing trading up and otherwise things went well. Really, for all of my capital combined, every single account that I have where there's money for trading, I went about plus, pretty much on the dot, plus 40% on the year. And again, 3 years ago, if you tell me plus 40%, I say, okay, that's good. But now that's great. Why? What's the difference? Because again, 2017 through 2020 was my aggressive stage. And the way I view it is essentially getting on the highway. I'm on the on-ramp, I'm speeding up, I'm getting on the highway. And over that period in time, thanks to the cryptocurrency raging market, the Canadian MJ raging bull market, I was able to go 8,000, 10,000, whatever 1,000% gains. I honestly don't even know. It's not that important to me to go find that exact number, but was able to do a lot in a short amount of time because of raging bull markets, blue skies. And now that I have gotten onto the highway, I'm in cruise control. I'm just, the last 2 years, I am setting the buttons into cruise control. And honestly, if I go 10% a year for the rest of my life, I have everything that I need to live the life that I want. So my goals are way lower as my capital has increased from previous years. So you might say, well, 10% a year, that's what the S&P 500 averages. Why don't you just buy the S&P 500 and don't do anything and save yourself all this time? Number one, I enjoy the game. I love trading. Number two, I do not trust our financial institutions. I do not trust markets. I do not trust the banks. I do not trust our government. That's a whole lot of a lack of trust to just say, here, take my money, see you in 20 years. I can't do that. I can do that with a portion of my capital, but not all of it. Also, peace of mind. Psychologically, it's very valuable to me to not care at all what the market does from one day to the next. Right now, in this moment, if the stock market dropped 10% tomorrow, I would lose some money from my long exposure, but it wouldn't be a big deal at all. And again, I love not caring. As soon as the market closes, that next, 16 hours or however long it is, it does not matter to me at all what markets are doing. It's like they don't exist. And I love that peace of mind. For me, that's very valuable, and it's worth the trading to not have to sit there and be worrying. You know, if I had all my money in markets, obviously an anomaly example, but when COVID hit, it would have been extremely stressful. And for me, that is valuable to avoid that stress. So other than that, what I'm looking for in 2022. So again, had a good year, wouldn't really change a whole lot. But in 2022, I am looking at roughly, again, if I make 10% plus, I win the game as far as I'm concerned. So I have a fairly low bar and I'm very confident that I can exceed it. And if I can exceed it 20, 30, 40% again, then that's great. But if I make 10%, I'm very content. So that is my goal. And there's another number of things that I'm looking for into this coming year. For example, I know that in 2022, there is a very high probability that late summer, early fall into the voting season, that the cannabis sector will have a notable opportunity. And potentially, I have no idea how it's going to shape up over the next 8 months, 9 months until we get to that period in time. But there is the potential that I could make my entire year's worth of gains during that move. So I am going to be very focused on that. And again, it's a seasonality. I've been trading that sector for 11 years, and I've gotten very comfortable with that seasonality. There was the same run up into, the Colorado and Washington legalization votes, the same run up into California legalization vote. So every year that you have names that are going to legalize, names that are going to have medical, it's really a lot of the media attention that drives things. So what I want to do is establish my positions before the media starts talking about it. Then the media starts talking about it. Then you start getting poll results and say, okay, well, this state is very likely to pass and this state's very likely to pass. And that's the buildup into the voting season that usually sees prices accrue in value. So that is something that I know that I will be focusing on. And it's just a matter of timing and observing the market and establishing some nice low risk, high reward positions. So again, I know that sector is going to be a focus of mine, and I know the time frame that I'm looking to have that focus. Other than that, I am going to be very fluid. I don't have any grandiose predictions of what the market's going to be doing. I'm going to take it one day at a time. If we stay bullish, if there's still a lack of fear, I'm going to continue trading bullish. If we see weakness, I'll play oversold bounces on the way down. I'll short in terms of swing positions to protect things. So not looking to change a whole lot as far as how I approach the markets on a daily basis. I just got that event later in the year that I know I'm focused on. And other than that, just watching to see if these market bulls can keep strength and keep the uptrends. And again, just want to make a note. Someone asked me today about the potential of a market crash. Market crash is always inevitable. It's going to happen. It will continue to happen as long as there's markets. I don't try and predict when they are going to happen. What I do is observe. And I know that if there's going to be any kind of crash, it will come with massive bear volume, and it will come with all of our major sectors dropping at the same time. So those are the two things that have to happen for any kind of big dump. So if those things start happening and we observe them, then that's a big glaring red flag as far as continuing to focus on the bulls. So I then shift my mindset. I then swing trade bearish more. I get more protective. Maybe I'm more picky with my bull trades. But again, it's that very clear observation of high bear volume and major sectors, QQQ, XLV, XLF, IWM even, all at the lows at the same time. If that is not happening, I'm going to stay with the longer term trends and I'm going to stay bullish the overall market. Aside from that, another reflection from this previous year. Something happened with me that has never happened before, and it was very interesting to observe. So one thing that happened was the best consistency of trading that I've ever experienced in 11 years. And it wasn't the most money I've made over that period of time because, again, I had raging bull markets to work with over the years where I made more money. But in terms of consistency, in terms of it doesn't matter what the market is doing that day, whether it's going up or down, there was a streak from in the end of 2020 into the start of 2021 and pretty much all the way into August or so, July or August. So it was about, including the other previous months, it was probably about 7, 8, 9 months where I just could not lose. And I just felt like there was lightning from my fingertips and the game got so easy that I knew every single day I'm going to make money and I'm going to exceed my goals. And that obviously only leads to one place, and it's a solid loss to reset your mindset, humble you and say, there you go, idiot, you got too cocky. That eventually did happen, but it was almost like I did it intentionally. I got to a point where, I don't want to sound cocky, but I lost motivation to make money for myself. Okay, I'm exceeding all my goals. I'm over, I'm 3 times the goal that I wanted on the year in terms of capital gains, and we're in August. What am I doing this? Like, why am I still at the screen all this time? I kept my motivation to do the chart guys, to make daily content, to answer questions. That motivation never faltered. But for my personal trading, I could care less. I stopped caring whatsoever. The challenge was gone. And because of that, I then started to self-sabotage. Not consciously in the moment, but upon reflecting, I was doing things that were setting myself up to break my streak with a solid loss. One thing I did was say, all right, I want to travel. I want to get away from the screen. If you're in a streak and you're in your aggressive mode, driving on the on-ramp onto the highway, if you're in that streak, you're not doing it. You're not changing your underwear. You're not doing a thing to change the momentum and the streak that you are on. I intentionally started changing things as if I wanted to disrupt that streak that I was on. So I went traveling. I stopped looking at the screen for a week, more so than I had done at any point in the last year. And I came back. And then subconsciously, I think that self-sabotage continued, where the biggest loss of a trade that I had this year was on BABA, and it was because I was playing an oversold bounce, and the bounce didn't happen, but I had set a stop loss, and it was a dollar risk that, okay, no big deal, but turns out I did not set that stop loss. There was flooding outside that I was dealing with. My dad had just came to visit, and by the time I got back to the computer and saw my mistake, it was the biggest loss of the year for me. So again, that's how your confidence streaks end. There's only one way they end. They don't end with a huge win and then that's that. They end with a big loss to break that streak. And it was almost like I was intentionally trying to have a big loss so that I could have the challenge again, because that reignited my fire. Okay, great. Now I got a challenge. I got to get back to where my account was before that big drop happened. And I didn't have any, time sensitive rush. I need to make this back in the next week, because that would be a red flag. You don't want to double down and compound a mistake. But it was almost like, okay, now I've got a challenge again, and I want to trade again, and I want to try and profit again to get back where I was. So observing all that in hindsight as it played out was very fascinating, because it was very clear to me that I had lost my drive to profit from my individual trading. And then I reignited that drive after a big loss. So that was very interesting to observe and very curious to see. Again, 11 years in, I thought that I'd seen it all psychologically, but clearly not the case. An always changing game, and those observations are very important. And I made a video where, this was back at this point 3 months ago, I made a video where I was going to talk about all of this, and in the end, I forget what happened, where I didn't make it, didn't edit it, and it was just almost like I did a diary self-reflection. It was almost like therapy, where I just made the video for my own therapy, tucked it away, and did all the observing that I just did now, back then, and then moved forward from there. So maybe that's something else. Video diaries to hash things out and reflect upon everything. So that is where I stand heading into 2022. I hope you had a good year. Again, if not, make the steps, make the changes as to what you need to do to improve for the new year. And again, most often, if you can change routines and other things outside of trading, it has ripple effects and it bleeds into your trading as well. Because as we know, anybody that's been doing this for a long time, trading is a lifestyle. It's not a hobby. It is if you want to be good at it, it's a lifestyle that encompasses your entire life. So again, double check that video that I did from last year. Just search Chart Guys New Year. And I hope you have a good new year. Looking forward to 2022. I appreciate all your support. I'm going to continue pumping out the content. See you then.